Welcome one and all to the Mudai Manga Book Club podcast. Today is episode 28, Out of the Mouths of Babes, with the Mind of an Old Man. My name is Louie, and I'm not sure being reborn as a baby would actually be that fun. And I'm joined with my co-host.
Whatever you do, don't look in the box right... Oh, no, that one's fine. Yeah, that one. What did I just say?
Tom!
Hey, everybody, welcome to another episode of the show. That definitely went exactly as funny as I thought it would be.
Yes. Hilarious. So for anyone who hasn't listened before... we do two topics every week. The first one is things we've been reading, things we've been watching, things we've been listening to, just things we've been enjoying this past week or so. And then our other main topic will be a review of Mushoku Tensei, Jobless Reincarnation, Light Novel Volume 1, which is the first volume of the manga, plus I think one or two chapters of the second volume, and then the first 4 episodes of the anime. So, yeah, that is the plan.
So, Louie, what have you been up to? What have you been reading, seeing, or listening to this past week?
So, one thing I did was I read the latest, not the latest, but the next Mushoku Tensei in order for me is, Volume 16 of the light novel. This starts kind of a mini arc, because there's an overall arc going on to kind of defeat the man god, and then this is a mini arc to kind of... We're now trying to do things to stop the man god. So this is an arc to put someone on the throne of a kingdom. So this is the start of it. So this one, they go into a labyrinth. It's a different kind of labyrinth. I won't spoil it. But it's them going in. But there's a lot of trying to know who's a good guy, who's a bad guy. Because it's not obvious anymore. Who's actually being manipulated, who's not. So it's interesting. There's a lot of lore in this one as well. Of like history and... who's planning what, and there's a lot of trying to understand how we're going to stop someone who can somewhat see into the future, but not quite. So, yeah, there's a lot of that. It's good. It's a good one. I started 17, so this is going to be shaping up to be a good little mini arc for the rest, because there's 26 total, so I'm a little over halfway through now. Yep. And then the other one I read is a manga called Clockwork Planet. This is written by Yukimiya with art by Tsubaki Himano. So this is a story... It's kind of hard to explain. So think of the Earth, and then it's died. So someone at some point in history says, I'm going to restart the Earth. But to restart it, they used clockwork, hence the name. So the whole world is running like a giant clock. So there's gears and machines kind of spinning around the planet to keep everything in motion. And so instead of living on the ground, they live in giant gears. And it's about a boy in high school, I believe, who is really into machines. He gets bullied all the time, mostly just because he's not paying attention to anything. And he gets so focused on his machines. Yeah. And it's about a group of... So there's 2 main factions. There's like a military police force as well as a kind of an engineering group. But there are various levels of the engineering group. And at the top there is... So there's a group that's like the best of the best. They go around fixing the Clockwork Planet because it's a clockwork. So it'll run for a long time, but eventually things break down. But there's only certain people who are allowed to really dive deep into understanding how it works. Okay. And it's run by a guild of machinists. They are kind of at odds with the military, kind of, sort of. Because the military runs the day-to-day workings of the basic stuff. And taking care of the people and things like that. And it has to deal with those 2 groups. There's an issue with where the main character's name is Naito. What plate he is living on has an issue, and they have to try to fix it. Okay. But there's things that are going on that aren't working correctly. But from... Naito knows nothing about this. So that's like a separate side story that's going on. His story is, as I said, he's a super tinkerer / machine person who just forgets about everything and just wants to work on machines. So he is trying to build his own clockwork person at his house. So he's working on that. And then suddenly something crashes into his roof. And it turns out inside there's a clockwork person already built. And he fixes her. She's the one you see on the covers. Because he opens the box and it's like nothing's working. And he realizes that something's broken, so he fixes her. And she's very sarcastic. Well, sarcastic is quite the right word. It's very, I say whatever I think, and most of the stuff I think is that everyone is beneath me. So she is like, everyone is an insect. You're slightly better than an insect because you fixed me. But she also is completely devoted to him because he fixed her. So she still thinks he's not the greatest, but he is now her master because she fixed him. So it's like, it's that interaction of, now there's this machine girl who follows him around and is just trying to help him, but is not doing it in the most subtle way. So there's a lot of that. And then there's a side plot of there's something going on with the city. And at the end of book 1, those two stories connect. People who were in charge of fixing the city and Naito and the machine girl bump into each other. And that's when it's like, oh, wait, there's more going on. Mm-hmm. And that's when the first book of the manga ends. I don't know exactly where the light novel ends, but yeah.
Cool.
So it's interesting. It's very much machine everything.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I don't know much of this series other than that I know the author of it, Yu Kamiya. I know him from one of his other works, and the one that kind of more famous of No Game, No Life. And this was one that Clockwork Planet was a series that he did, I think, while doing No Game, No Life. After that had sort of taken off and was like 5 or 6 books in, he started on that. Then obviously made manga for it. I don't know anything about it beyond that.
I can't tell if Clockwork Planet is over or not. It looks like the manga is done. Maybe the light novel's done too.
Maybe it's on hiatus. I don't know.
Yeah, so for the manga there's 10 volumes, which seems to be the end of the story, as it says final volume. And then for light novels there's 4.
Okay.
Out in English.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what about you? What have you been up to?
I've been reading a bit. I've officially declared summer over, so I could buy stuff again. So I bought some stuff because there was a bunch of sales going on, and I'm like, it's good value if I give up my whole plan to not buy stuff now.
Okay.
Buy the stuff I was going to buy for less if I just do it right now.
Yeah.
So, short one first. I read this book, I don't know if you've heard of it, called Mushoku Tensei.
Nope,
I read the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not going to talk about it for
hopefully
however many minutes it is until the until the main review.
Yeah.
But I ended up getting that, and I've had that for a while, so I finally sat down and read that this week.
Okay.
In addition, the other short and simple one, because I can't really say anything, Mission Yozakura Family, book 18 just came out.
Oh, nice.
And it's not quite Eden Zero levels of spoilers on top of spoilers made out of spoilers. But 90% of this book is still spoilers.
Okay. Have they done the time skip yet?
No.
Okay.
They have not done the time skip yet. That is still happening. But given what's happened, it feels like if it doesn't happen in the next, 5 chapters, I have no idea what's going to happen next.
So they're still in the big fight?
They're still in the big fight on the boat on the ocean.
Okay.
And you're seeing I think at this point you've now seen every sibling's super blooming ability.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
In this book, I think you had seen 1 or 2 of them before, and you see the other 5 this book.
Ah, okay.
And you get a bunch of reveals on stuff that I cannot say out loud, even though you already know it. Yeah, I just can't explain this in any way that isn't huge spoilers. But what seems to be that fight, it hasn't ended, but the other side has been defeated, and you're just watching all the reveals come from that ending.
Okay, yep.
And it's like, okay, you get told that, hey, guess what? There's the real big bad coming up soon. And it's like, okay, but you're not going to tell us who that is, are you? It's like, nope, not going to tell you yet. Not this book. I'll tell you next book.
So you don't know who the big bad guy is yet?
I think it's been hinted at, and I think they say their name in 1 chapter, but it's not like we, the people in the story, understand this is the person we have to fight against. They're just being told, hey, this was all on purpose for something else.
Okay.
But it's very good. Mm-hmm. All the Bankai, all the bloomings are really cool.
Yeah.
The first one that you see in this book, which is Kengo, the disguise guys, his is wicked. It's so cool. It's not at all what I expected, and it's not super combat-y, but that makes sense for him, and it's just a really cool idea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You get a really, like, touching backstory with him for it, and Kyoichiro's is insane, as you would expect.
Yep.
And, oh boy, the snippets of things you learn about Toya's past from this is... It hasn't even been explained. It's just, like, hinted at for half a page, and then immediately they start talking about something else, and Toya's like, wait, stop, go back. No, what do you... Stop ignoring me. Tell me what that meant. And it's like, no, we've already moved on. It's too late. Very, very good. A lot of fun. Kind of feels a little thin, but it may just run fast because it's crazy battle after crazy battle after crazy battle. But it starts in the middle of a fight and it ends in the middle of other stuff. So it's kind of like, okay, I now I need the next book. Hurry it up. But it's extremely good.
Nice. I like it. It's really good.
Yeah, I think it's absolutely fantastic. Beyond that, so the big one I read this week is I read Daemons of the Shadow Realm, volume 2 through 8, which is everything that's come out in English as a volume.
Yeah, you're farther ahead than I am now.
This is the current newest series by Hiroma Arakawa, who did Full Metal Alchemist, along with Heroic Legend of Arslan and Silver Spoon. This is our current newest series. I've read some Silver Spoon, and I do really like that. I have not read any Arslan, even though the cover is literally Edward Elric with white hair instead of blonde hair and a bird. But I haven't read any of that. And I haven't finished Full Metal Alchemist, but I've read a lot of it. And this feels like a series like Full Metal Alchemist again. Arslan and Silver Spoon especially feel very different narrative and character-wise, even though the art's very similar. The art feels a little bit more unique compared to Full Metal Alchemist, but the story is obviously not the same kind of story. Instead of being about this magic in a world and military service and secret plots, this one has lots of secret plots, but it's, we're all underground people fighting against other underground people using magic that's existed for a while, and everybody's kind of lying about things for a while, and then they're not. It feels a bit more like a Yozakura Family or like a spy drama.
It does,
just with monster powers. What's her name? The one girl who has the giant mouth.
Oh, yeah.
Just flies around and bites things in half. Grace? Greta? Gabby, who is fantastic.
Yeah.
And currently my two favorite things about Gabby is obviously her giant mouth monster that just bites things in half. But also there's an afterword in one of the books where they talk about how they're colorizing her. And she's like, I never thought of like what color her jacket or her hair should have been. And everyone looks over and it's like, it's blonde with a red jacket, right? And then there's just a picture of Edward in the background. It's like, yeah, I guess that makes sense. Yeah, it's a Full Metal Alchemist reference, sure. Okay, yep, that's just what she's going to be. But
that's what she is now.
It has that... There's always more going on than you think that Full Metal Alchemist had.
Yep.
But this time, the actual main character of Yuru really knows nothing.
Yeah,
and is constantly just wandering into problems. But instead of, there's this seemingly good thing that has this evil underbelly, it's like, no, everything's an evil underbelly. It's just which one is the one that you can be willing to work with.
Right. Which one's the evil that you can stand?
Yes.
Yeah.
Who will you put up with to get what you want? It feels very slow. Not in a bad way.
Right.
But like fights and adventures and plot beats take a long time. So it's like, I'm in like book 8. It feels like I'm on like book 3 in terms of what's actually happened in the plot. But it's really fun. It's great. The art's incredible. The daemons and monsters in it are really cool. The fights are ridiculous. And the characters, even though it has that feel of like a Full Metal Alchemist, they feel more unique and different visually and narratively than some of the characters from her other works. So I think it's just a fantastic series. I am so excited for this.
Oh, good. I'm glad you like it. Yeah.
Yeah. If you liked Full Metal Alchemist, this is not the same.
No.
This is like same genre, same quality.
Yes.
And obviously it's by the same person, so there's a lot of visual similarities, but
Yep.
it's done in a really neat way.
Yep.
And there's so many, oh, this person who seemed like a good guy was actually the bad guy, and this person who seems like a bad guy was actually the good guy.
Mm-hmm.
It's extremely well done.
Yeah, it's set in modern Japan.
Yes, it is.
Yep.
Yuru comes from a mountain village that's been separated, so he thinks of the world in like terms from the 1600s, but it's set in modern Japan.
Mm-hmm.
Just there's these magic called Daemons.
Yeah.
And they are so well designed. There's so many weird things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He has left and right, which is the most basic, of course, because he's the main character. But it's basically just two Oni made of stone who will go around and fight. The next character is has a giant anglerfish and a mini anglerfish.
Yes.
And then Gabby has the mouth, and it's that's just one. It's no, it's the top half of the mouth and the bottom half of the mouth, covered in eyeballs that will just show up and will just shrink down to little chibi size and float around and make silly faces.
Yeah, because they always come in pairs.
Yes, everything comes in pairs. My daughter's current favorite one is the one who has the rabbit and the turtle. Because one of them is a turtle. And the turtle is great because the turtle, its entire ability is being heavy.
Yes.
The first time it shows up, it just jumps on one. I think it jumps on left and just sits there. And left is just crumpled over and I can't move. I can't do anything. And the turtle's just sitting there too, yep, you can't do anything. Doot, 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 doot.
Yeah.
And every time the turtle comes back, that's all the turtle does. And it's okay, sure. But then there's ones where it's one person, their two demons are swords. Another person, they're crazy shapeshifter. They're all sorts of things.
Yeah, they're not always about fighting.
That too.
Yeah.
And they could be the size of your fist to the size of a building.
Yep.
No, it's phenomenal. I think it's great. If you like Full Metal Alchemist, you'll almost definitely like this.
Nice. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
But I think Volume 8's the latest, isn't it?
Volume 8 is the recently released in the US. 9 is coming in a couple weeks, and then 10 is coming early next year, I believe.
Okay.
Oh, 9 is coming in December, 10 is coming in April.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
And then last thing I read is I started reading Campfire Cooking in Another World with My Absurd Skill, books 2 and 3 of a light novel.
Ah, nice.
I know this is one that you really liked.
Yes.
The manga of, about Mukoda, the Japanese businessman who was accidentally also summoned to another world.
Yep.
And his entire skill is
online shopping.
Supermarket.
Yeah.
But then he befriends the great Fenrir and a slime.
Yep.
Book 2 and 3. Book 2 is basically him becoming an actual adventurer.
Okay, yep.
Unintentionally for a while, and then sort of intentionally by just following Fel the Fenrir around and letting him do everything.
Pretty much.
And then getting the dragon.
Yep.
'Cause, now he has a petite dragon with him too.
Oh, right, okay.
And then volume 3 is they go to the dungeon.
So he has the dragon when they go to the dungeon?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So book 2 is a bunch of just, they've gotten to this other, first book is everything is getting set up and his plan is we're going to get out of this kingdom because it's weird and creepy and I don't like it here.
Yep.
Book 2 is they've made it to the other kingdom and he sets himself up.
Yep.
And book 3 is now that he has all the backing around this kingdom, Fel the Fenrir wants to go to a dungeon, and Sui the Slime and Draco? No.
Dora-chan. Dora.
Dora, yeah, Dora. Dora the dragon. Fel wants to go to the dungeon, and then Sui and Dora both yeah, let's go to a dungeon. Fine, we'll go to the dungeon. The second half of the book is just them going through the dungeon and just destroying everything.
Yeah.
It's very lighthearted. It's very easy reading. I think probably the most interesting thing I have to say about... And, oh my god, if you want Japanese food porn as a book, that is...
Yes.
This is not quite Delicious in Dungeon level, but it comes up more often than that, which is still saying something. Because his entire ability is about cooking, and all that his familiars want is him to make food.
Yeah.
Most of every chapter is about food, but it's done in a way that's goofy and lighthearted enough you sort of can accept it.
Yep.
I don't mind it at all. It's part of the story, but every scene where it's about the food is pretty short, and then they'll do something else, and they'll do food, and they'll do something else, and they'll keep jumping back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing I noticed as I was reading these, though, is it's a great series to binge, and it's probably a terrible series to slowly work through, because the light novel itself reads like a manga.
Oh, really?
The end of book 2 is Dora shows up and becomes a familiar.
Okay.
That's not like the finishing a plot. It's just like, oh, and Dora's here now. Anyway, the book's over. Book 3 kind of has an ending because they finished the dungeon, but not really. And book 1 is, we're almost to the kingdom I wanted to go to. And it just stops. And the beginning of every book, there's no like, hey, here's where things are. Here's like a sort of, there isn't even that like 2-paragraph, hey, here's how I got here. Mm-hmm. It just goes. So if you're reading one book and jumping right into the next one, it just feels like the beginnings and ends just don't exist. I don't know. It's just a weird little thing of the writing. Okay. I don't think it's a big problem. If you take a long break, it might be hard to remember what's going on. But at the same time, what was going on is he was cooking a lot of food for his familiars. They ate it all. They said it was delicious. The gods and goddesses asked him for a bunch of stuff, and then his familiars went and exploded something that everyone else was terrified of. Yeah. That's pretty much everything that's happened.
Yeah, that's pretty much what happens going forward.
But it's fun. It's lighthearted. It's easy reading, but it's definitely good. I'm enjoying it a lot.
Cool.
I may have gotten some more.
Okay.
I may be reading those soon.
Yeah, because
they were on sale. There's a lot. I think there's like 23.
It's up there, yeah. No, so there's 16 light novels.
Okay.
And 10 manga. The manga ended, I don't know where, it's farther along than you are, but it ended when they got to the ocean.
Yeah, we haven't gotten to the ocean yet. I think that's where we're going. They're going in book 4. They're on their way there, but on the way there was the dungeon town.
Yeah, yep. So it takes them a bit to get to the ocean, and then once they're there, they do a bunch of stuff. And that's pretty much where volume 10 of the manga ends. Yeah. Yeah, and I don't know if they've announced when the next manga is.
Manga? Yeah. I don't know. The next novel is coming out in like a week.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, the last...
And that'll be the 16th.
Yeah, so the last manga volume was January. So cool. I'm glad you like it. Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
It's a lot of fun. It's very lightweight.
Yes.
There's almost no challenge. If you want him like actually fighting against things or facing challenges, that does not happen at all.
No, it's mostly him just being pulled along.
Yes, that's mostly what it is him being dragged along and told to make food. And then he's like, yeah, okay, fine.
Yeah.
It's got that in another world with my smartphone at level of, yep, there's no pressure here. Just like show up and hey, everything just wins.
Yeah.
But slightly less ridiculous, which is weird coming from a book where feeding people food from another world causes their stats to go up. That's the more grounded series.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a lot of fun. I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, and I believe they have announced a second season of the TV show. The first season was good. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it ends, I think, right before Dora shows up. The first season. Because it's only 12 episodes.
Yeah.
So, that's coming.
Cool.
But yeah, glad you like it.
Nice. No, it's definitely really good.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying it a lot. But yeah, that's what we've read and seen and done this week. If you have any comments on that, or if you have anything that you've been reading that you want to let us know about, or you want to recommend to us, drop us a note, drop us a message, send an email.
Yeah, just if you think you like what we talked about, or if you have any recommendations, always we like to hear recommendations, because there's so many stories out there. There's too many to pick from.
Look at this week. I've barely read double digits of books. I clearly need more recommendations. Yeah. I need to read more. I've only read 12 things.
Yes. Only 12.
And 9 of them weren't even novels. They were just manga. Yeah. Like I can do so much more. Come on. I say, having just gone through a huge sale binge. Don't ask how many I bought.
I will not.
Good, because I'm not answering.
So for our main topic this week, we're going to do a review of Mushoku Tensei Jobless Reincarnation Light Novel Volume 1, which is the first volume of the manga, and then I believe chapter 2 of the second volume, and then the first 4 episodes of the anime from season 1. This first light novel came out back in 2014, I believe. This is published by Seven Seas Entertainment here in the US, and it is written by Rifujin Na Maganode. So for anyone who doesn't know, this is one of the big isekai of the 2010s. It kind of started a lot of the genre, at least here in the US. It was very popular, and it still is very popular. So there are 26 volumes in this series, and then there is a sequel series that just started, and I believe there's 2 out so far in English of that series. I think there's more to come. So this was a big one when it came out, and it's still really big. It's very popular. There is a new season of the anime coming out next year, I believe. Yeah, because so far there has been 2 full seasons. It's very good. But yeah. So, Light Novel Volume 1. This is very much the start of a typical isekai, where someone gets killed, they get reborn in another world.
Yep.
But this is like one of the originals. Well, not an original isekai, but this is where a lot of the other ones took reference from.
Yeah. It's allowed to do a lot of the stupid tropes, not because they're not stupid, but because when they were doing it, it was new.
Yeah. These were new tropes at the time.
Yeah.
So the main character, I don't know if you learned his actual name.
His full Japanese name?
From Earth, yeah.
I don't think you do. And
okay, it might come up later then.
If you do in the first book, it's just offhanded mentioned once and not talked about again.
So the first book has a number of characters, and I'll go through them in a minute. But then there's really 4 big story sections. There's the first one, which is about his life in Japan. Mm-hmm. It's really short.
Yep.
And then there's him as a baby, him when he meets his teacher, and then him when he meets his first friend. That's how you can break up the light novel in 4 major sections.
Yeah.
So, the main character is a shut-in. He is, I believe, 36 when the book starts.
Thereabouts.
He is very much, I haven't left my house in almost 2 decades. Mm-hmm. He is the epitome of what you think a shut-in is. But the reason is because when he was in high school, he was bullied mercilessly and humiliated, and at that point he decides to never go back to school again. And you learn more about this as the series goes on, but you learn about what his life was like after he was bullied. Because the initial book, this light novel, talks about what happened and then how he ended up here, but it doesn't bridge the gap between those years very well, because that's more information that you really need in this first volume. But that is filled in as the series goes on. Like, it talks about people who tried to help him, things like that. But in this first book, it starts off with he is a shut-in. His parents just passed away. Yep. And he is so much of a shut-in, he has no idea how they died. It's like, I assume it was an accident or something like that. He's just living his life at home. He didn't even go to the funeral. His siblings, he has 2 brothers and a sister. Mm-hmm. They come home, kick him out of the house, beat him up because they don't like him at all, because he's not a nice person. Kick him out of the house. He's trying to figure out, okay, I need a place to live, I need a job, but I can't get a job unless I have a resume, and I can't have a resume unless I have paper, but I don't have any money, and I don't have an address, so I can't fill out a resume. So he's just wandering around. He has blood on him. It's raining out. And then he hears some people arguing. They're in high school. Seems like a lover's triangle kind of thing. And he's like, oh. So he's trying to leave them alone. But then he sees a truck coming down the street. The driver is slumped over, fallen asleep at the wheel. The truck is about to hit them. He runs as fast as he can because he's overweight. He hasn't left his room. He's fat. He grabs one of the kids, throws them out of the way, and then tries to get the other 2 out of the way. But as soon as he tries to get the other 2, he gets hit by the truck.
There's a great moment
that
summarizes this book's writing style and humor and willingness to be dark. So he successfully pushes them out, the last two out of the way, but in doing so, he pushes himself in front of the truck. The truck hits him, and he's like, "It's one of the most indescribable things of pain I've ever felt, but I was alive."
Yeah.
And he gets thrown into a wall, and it's like, "Oh, I'm still alive." And then the truck hits him again and crushes him, and then he dies.
Like a tomato. Yeah.
Like, but there's a split second where he gets hit by the truck. It's like, "Oh, everything hurts, but I'm still alive."
Yeah.
And then it's like, "Yeah, now he's dead." It's like,
and then he's dead. Yeah.
That's how this story is going to play it. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. So there's a lot of commentary in his head about things. So that's one of the main things about this story is there's a lot of living in his head about comments, and he references so many things throughout the story. It's like, I knew some of them I don't know. So if you're really into Japanese anime culture, he references things from all time, all over the place, constantly throughout the whole series. He does it a lot. Some he mentions by name, some he mentions just kind of, you can infer what he's trying to talk about. Yeah. So that past section is probably one story arc in this book, and it's not that long. But now Tokyo, Japan, his older self, all gone.
Yep.
He is now wakes up. Why is everything so bright? And who are these people? And why am I so small? And why can I only talk in gobbledygook?
Because he has been a baby.
Yeah, he has been reborn as a baby.
Yes, with his old mind completely intact.
Right. So he still thinks he's a 36-year-old.
Yeah.
But he is now a baby. And this is kind of an interesting part where he's trying to piece together where he is, because he has no idea. He thinks he's somewhere in the regular world. But then as things go on, he's like, oh, wait, this isn't Earth. Because he thinks these people are poor, they don't have electricity, or why is my dad swinging a sword out in the yard? Is he some kind of weirdo?
They're speaking this weird language, and I've never heard it before. This must be, but the house design, maybe this is somewhere in rural Europe, or
yeah.
And then I think he sees magic the first time. It's like, oh, okay, this isn't Earth anymore. Got it.
Yeah, because he's watching his dad outside. He slips and slams his head on the ground. And his mom comes over and does a chant to heal him just in case. And he's like, what is she doing? Some kind of weird kiss your boo-boo kind of phrase to make it go away. And then her hand glows and he realizes, wait, I feel better. What is going on?
Yep.
And then, he's like, oh, we're somewhere else. So... his new name, now that he's been reborn, is Rudeus Greyrat.
Yep.
Or he's also called Rudy, or sometimes Ruru. That one not very often, but that does happen. And then his dad is Paul Greyrat.
At the end of the book. Oh, it's such a great scene at the end.
Yeah. So his dad is Paul Greyrat, and his mom is Zenith Greyrat.
Yes.
So they are living in a village... in a country. It's kind of like European style flavor. They're in a very rural village where Paul is a knight of the town.
Yeah.
But town's even too big. It's a village. So there's 30 families, I believe. So he goes around protecting the village from monsters, doing if someone has a dispute, or helping people out. Zenith is mostly stay-at-home mom, but also helps out at the clinics if they need healing. Because Paul and Zenith are both former adventurers.
Yep.
Paul is a swordsman. Zenith is a healer for the most part. They don't go too much into the detail of their past in this one. They do talk about it, but it's definitely hinted a lot more later.
You do get a little bit of it. You do find out that they were in a party together, and then they sort of got together, and then what you ultimately find out in this book is that when Zenith got pregnant, they both were like, okay, we're done adventuring, got married, and moved out here. And then Rudeus was born. Yes.
So they have a small little house, just the two parents, Rudy, and then there's also a maid, in quotes. She is the housemaker, someone to help with Rudy, things like that. So she's quite important. She So all three of them notice that Rudy is odd because he is a baby, but he also has the mind of a 36-year-old in his head. So he doesn't act like a baby.
Yep.
He is very serious. He also makes suggestive faces when he sees things. He is not a happy baby, but he's an odd baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He doesn't cry about things. He doesn't get upset about many things. He's very quiet. And Lilia especially, there's several scenes of her just being like, that face is very lewd and I don't like it. But it's a 1-year-old infant. So I'm more confused than angry.
Like, why is he smirking?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they were very... Yeah, they had some reservations about him as a baby. And even as he grows up, because he has the mind of a 36-year-old, he thinks like a 36-year-old.
Yeah.
So you have a toddler who's talking like a 36-year-old. It's like trying to be very polite. It's like, how did you even learn how to do this?
Yeah.
Because it's like, okay, I'll learn how to read. Because his idea is, I got a new lease on life. I'm not going to be the kind of person I was before. I'm not going to be a shut-in. I'm not going to waste my life sitting in my room, not doing anything. I am going to be the best person I can be in this world. So he learns to speak the language. He learns to read. And the next thing he does is he learns magic.
Yep.
So one day he finds a book in the house that has magic. It has spells. It has the theory behind it. And that's when he starts to believe that this kind of thing is real. Because before it's like, okay, this is weird parlor tricks like magic is like magic. Here it's like, okay, yeah, that's not a real thing. But then when Zenith does the healing, he's like, oh, okay, this is a thing and there's a book about it. So he starts to kind of go through and learn. Eventually, he destroys part of the house because he does something and is not paying attention.
Yep.
And blows a hole in the side of the house. That's when they Zenith is like, oh, he's a genius. We have to hire a tutor. And it's like, but Paul's like, well, wait, no, he was a boy, so we're going to train him in the sword. It's like, okay. And then Lily's like, okay, why don't you do sword fighting and magic, start of the day, end of the day. And great. So now he's going to learn how to use a sword, and he's also going to learn magic. And that's when they also decide to get a tutor to teach Rudy actually how to do magic. Because Zenith, while can do healing, doesn't really do a lot of other magic, and Paul does no magic at all.
He does... So he doesn't consider it magic, but
no,
the world itself kind of does, and Rudy basically sees it as magic, where it's basically like physical enhancement magic that you just... And actually Paul does know about it, but he doesn't... It's too intuition to him, so he can't even really explain it, but he can use his magical power to make himself faster, stronger, swing harder, and things like that.
Right. Because I think Rudy explains that he's kind of enveloping himself in magic to make his body stronger.
Yep.
That's how sword fighters can cut stones in half or throw slashes.
Or run at 50 kilometers an hour.
Yeah. So they're incredibly strong because magic exists and they can tap into the magic to make themselves even stronger.
Yep.
So there's the regular kinds of magic. There's fire, wind, water, earth. And then there's healing. There's sub-genres of healing, and then there's summoning.
Healing, detox, anti-undead, something else, and then there's like the book's more specific, but the elements is the only one that's really going to come up in this, and healing.
So then another thing this book does, this whole series does, is that it breaks things into levels. So there's levels of magic, and then there's also levels of sword fighting. Because in the world there's multiple schools of magic, as in earth, fire, wind, water. But then there's also multiple styles of sword fighting. There's North God, which is probably the hardest one to explain because it's kind of a jack of all trades. Think of a swashbuckling pirate who just does whatever they feel like. Then there's the Water God, who is complete defense.
Defense and counters. So
you hit me, I'm going to block, but then I'm going to hit you even harder.
Dark Souls.
And then there's... Yeah, pretty much. And then there is Sword God. Sword God is, I'm going to hit you so fast you won't even know you're dead kind of style. So those are the three sword styles. And then there are multiple levels of all of those, and then multiple levels of all the magic. It's pretty much like beginner, intermediate, advanced, saint, king,
emperor,
emperor, and then it's one of those. Sometimes it's called god, sometimes it's called divine.
It's not letters or numbers. It's actual like terms.
There's actual titles. So if you are a intermediate level in the sword god style,
yeah.
But there is a title that comes up later where you are the sword god, which is confusing in this first book because someone is considered the sword god.
Yeah.
But then there's the sword god style of fighting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
As someone who hasn't gotten far enough to have that come up, it's not a problem in this first book.
Yeah.
I'm just reading it for the first time.
Because I reread the book. It's like, oh, right. Some of this is a little confusing at the beginning. Now that I've read it, it's like, okay, yeah. I forgot this stuff was hinted at back then.
The book almost feels like it doesn't spend, I wouldn't say too much time on it, but it does spend a lot of time being like, here's how the ranks work, here's what these are, and it is different from what your standard isekai in that the ranks are more explicit in what they are and have their own specific names, and it's not just A rank, B rank, C rank. Like, it's actual, like, oh, it kind of makes sense in this one world. Like, and I think that's something about this that's minor thing I'll say that's like, this is actually something neat as someone who's been reading a lot of random, cheap, easy light novels, is this one, it's all the tropes that will show up in everything else, but they were doing it as if it was actually putting in the work and describing everything and making it part of this world, and not just like, oh yeah, this is a thing that exists because that's just how the trope works, and just don't think about it. We're all going to just pretend it's fine. Right. There's a little more thought put into it.
Yes.
And it's still weird. Hey, it's called Sword God style and Water God style and North God style, and there's these ranks that everyone just sort of agrees on. But on the other end, it's kind of given an explanation.
Yep. So there is a somewhat backstory about them. I don't know how...
Not very deeply in this.
Yeah, it's not very detailed in this first book. But just know that they exist.
Yeah. And it's not just A rank, B rank, C rank, D rank, S rank, S plus rank. It's like there are actual terms, and people use those terms, and there's a sense that these terms mean something. Yeah,
because here's an example, at least from the magic side. Because the sword part isn't as explicit in the beginning.
That's true.
On the magic side, think of it as a beginner is someone who can shoot like a ball of water. An intermediate is someone who can shoot a column of water. And then as you get higher, the amount of area that your spells cover gets bigger. When you're a saint tier, you can create a thunderstorm. That's the kind of spells you do.
Yeah.
So the scale of your spells dictates how high in the list you are.
Yep.
And so far, I've only seen one Emperor tier spell.
Oh, okay.
And it's, yeah.
I'm assuming ridiculous.
It is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
But yeah, so as they go up, just think of it, it's bigger as you go up in size. But one of the things that Rudy learns while he's studying by himself is that the books are very much catered to people who have to recite a spell. So I have to say these key phrases, that creates the spell, off the spell goes. Yep. However, as he's doing this, he realizes that if he concentrates on how he feels when he says the spell, he can recreate that feeling in himself. If I say this phrase, I feel that if I draw myself up and force my hand and body and magic to form a certain way into my hand, I can also create the same spell, like a water ball.
Yep.
At which point he realizes that he can do the spells without reciting, which the book says is very rare. And it turns out it is. Mm-hmm. But then he also realizes that every time he does a spell, he gets really tired. So he starts practicing like you would do if you're trying to exercise. He starts just doing spells over and over and over again. And he realized that the amount of spells he can do now is really great. And that's when he's not paying attention, blows a hole in the wall. Yep. We get our new teacher, Roxy Magurdia. So she is the blue-haired magician you see in the covers. Mm-hmm. She shows up for the rest of the series.
I believe you.
Yeah. So she is hired by the Grey Rat parents, so Paul and Zenith, to teach Rudy actual magic. Because before now, he's just reading out of a book. So he's learning magic from Roxy. So she shows up at the door. She is not very tall. She has blue hair. Paul and Zenas were like, are you the right person? And Rudy's like, well, you're short.
Yeah.
So he tries to say things like a kid would, but he's also thinking a lot of things that a kid would never think.
Yeah.
But because of that, he also tries to manipulate the conversations, because he's actually a lot older than everyone else, because I think Paul is in his early 20s.
Yeah, Paul's like 24, 25, and he's like 36, so he's older than everyone around him.
Yeah, so by the time Rudy is 5, he's actually 41.
Yep.
So there's a lot of him thinking naughty thoughts and stuff like that, and
a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot of innuendos and peeping, and yeah.
There's a lot of very much not innuendo, very explicit
there's
doing that too.
So I would say there's not a lot of explicit things described.
Yes, that is definitely true.
But there's a lot of hits. A lot of hits.
Yeah.
And a lot of talk about various video games and shows and things like that. It's like, so Roxy shows up. She's going to be his teacher. And the first thing they do is they go out in the yard and blow down one of his mom's trees.
Then they fix it.
They do fix it. And then they
accidentally blow down again.
And that's when Zenith comes out.
And is very mad.
Yeah.
Fix it again.
But Roxy is very discouraged. She's like, oh, they're going to fire me. He's like, oh, don't worry about it. So, for the next few years, Roxy and Rudeus they're inseparable. Rudy is learning all he can from Roxy.
Yep.
He really respects her. He learns all the beginner spells, all the intermediate spells, and I believe all the advanced spells by the time that she's ready to say, there's nothing else I can teach you. So this takes a couple years, I think, or roughly. It's at least a year and a half.
Roxy's teaching, it's about 2 years, I believe.
So in the morning, he does the magic. In the afternoon, he does the sword fighting. And in this time, you learn that also Roxy is a demon. And demon is very much a term of people who were on a different side of a war. So they're demons in that they don't look like humans, but the amount of demon looking, you would think, is subjective, because the only thing that really looks demon about Roxy is her hair is blue, which you wouldn't see on a regular person. That's when you also learn about the Superdia. They are a race of demons who are somewhat related to the Magurd, which is what Roxy is, but they are green-haired, and they also have a jewel in their forehead. So she warns them, if you ever see one of these people, run. Or, no, don't run. Slowly back away and try to get out of there as fast as you can. But don't run or else they'll chase you down. They are the boogeymen of the demon world.
Yep. Don't worry, this won't come up later.
Nope, not at all.
Not even a little bit.
Not even a little bit. Never happens. Yeah. But you learn about the world, so there's multiple countries, multiple continents, there's demons all over the place. You learn about Laplace, which was a big demon emperor who fought in a war 400 years ago. You learn that the humans and demons have been fighting on and off for the past 7,000 years.
Yep.
Yeah, there's a lot of backstory in the Roxy part of the book.
You also get a lot of Rudy. He's continuing to get better and better and better and better at magic, and he actually becomes fairly good. He becomes saint level in water, I think.
Yes.
That's his final exam with Roxy, but he becomes an exceptionally good magician for someone who's 5 or 6 years old.
I believe he's 5 when Roxy leaves. Yeah.
And he's around 6 for most of the rest of the book after that. But yeah, he's a saint level magician, which is already pretty rare.
Mm-hmm.
And
a silent saint.
And silent casting.
Yep.
Combination magic, and a bunch of those other things that are like, oh, these are cool ideas that you would expect to see. And he's not perfect at anything.
No.
And he's not unstoppably powerful.
No.
And he realizes this, and Paul regularly reminds him of this, and Paul, being the sword fighter and teaching him sword fighting, regularly shows him this, because in terms of sword fighting, during the entire Roxy arc, Rudy's just a beginner. Through and through, can do nothing to keep up with his father.
So eventually, Roxy realizes that she can't teach him anything else, so she's taught him all kinds of things about the world of magic. She's like, okay, I can't teach you anymore, so they go off to do the final exam, and this is one of those things where his past self kind of holds his new self back, because he was a complete shut-in before for a number of years.
Mm-hmm.
And in his new world, he's left the house into the yard, but he's never gone outside the yard. Mm-hmm. And he is incredibly anxious about this. And it's about him trying to deal with, okay, I'm out of my home, and everyone's going to start laughing and mocking me and staring at me funny. So So this is one of the things that comes up quite a lot, especially in this first book, where he acts like a kid, he acts like an adult as a kid.
Yep.
And speaks like an adult sometimes as a kid, but then also has these times when the parents, Roxy, Lilia, see that he is still a kid in certain respects, and this is one of those times where they just think he's so nervous to leave. It's like, okay, we're gonna help you, because he does the I've never been out of the house and things like that. So it's Roxy's turn to help him, to get him out of his comfort zone and leave and kind of grow as a person, not just as Rudy, but as his former self too, of I'm stepping out into the real world again. I'm not going to be a shut-in anymore in this world either. Because he was perfectly fine living in this little yard in his house, but he needed that push from Roxy in order to even leave the yard.
And it's a nice little scene. It's a nice little moment where you see, even though he's 40-something-year-old person in like a kid's body, even from that angle too, it's like seeing someone facing something they don't want to do, and he's abjectly terrified for the first 10 minutes, and it's like, oh, okay, I can actually do this. And there's a good couple things to follow up where after this is when Roxy does their final exam and he passes it, and she says like, okay, I have nothing else to teach you, so I'm leaving. And then she ends up going off to train herself to become better at magic. And then as you get into the next part, Rudy starts like trying to go out more, and like for the first couple like scenes after that, he's like, okay, I'm gonna try to go out. Like I could just go out now. I'm okay with this. Like, wow, things just feel different. And it's like, oh, that's a nice little thing.
Yeah.
Character development. Yay.
Yeah. He becomes a better person because he faced his fear. Roxy helped him along, and now he can go out into the real world and find people who are bullying another person.
Yeah. Silky time.
Yeah. So this is now the last part of the book. There's a little bit at the end that doesn't quite relate to this, but for the most part, it's like Sylphie. It
kind of does.
Through the end of the book, yeah. So this is the Sylphie section. So Sylphie is a boy who he finds being bullied by a bunch of other kids in town. They're throwing things at Sylphie. They're throwing mud and all kinds of things. And he goes over to stop them, because that's the one thing he still doesn't like, is people bullying other people, because he knows what that feels like.
Yeah.
The reason he was actually bullied is because he stood up to other bullies, and then they all called their friends and bullied him even more. So he still can't stop himself from protecting people. So he goes and saves Sylphie, throws mud at the kids, they run away.
To add to that too is Paul, as a swordsman, is also very commonly talking about like, hey, it's not about just getting power. You have to use it for something good. You should be protecting the weak. And is also always trying to instill into him, don't just be powerful, because then you'll get arrogant.
Yep.
And all those sorts of lessons too. So Rudy himself is also that, as you said, but Paul is supposedly also encouraging him in that. And when he doesn't follow through on that, in one instance where he's not quite told the whole story, Rudy calls him out on it, and he's like, yeah, no, you're right. I shouldn't have said that. Damn it. Why is my child a 40-something-year-old person? Oh, well, that's clearly not what's going on, and that's not why this is happening. He's just a very talented child. Yep.
Yeah. A talented child who can talk circles around his father, which is like, okay. Yep. He doesn't want to talk to him about certain things because he knows that Rudy will somehow win the argument.
Yeah. Which leads to one of my favorite scenes coming up. I cannot wait to mention that.
Which... okay, why don't you just go ahead and do it, because I don't remember which one.
So save Sylphie. Yes, this boy. This incredibly attractive boy.
Yes.
Yep, that's definitely what this 6-year-old child is, with the green hair.
Actually, I think green hair. Sylphie is younger than him, isn't she?
I think she's like maybe a year younger, but like basically the same age or slightly younger.
Okay, yeah.
But, oh no, green hair. Oh, they were teasing him because they were a demon. Oh no, is she actually... No, she's not. Hey, you know how I said, guess what? The message about those super evil demon people who might mess with you. Yeah, no, they bring it up here again. It's like, no, that's actually not what Sylphie is. But Sylphie's extremely attractive, and Rudeus begins... plan of hang out with attractive boy to be wingman to get to get the low confidence women who don't feel they can get with Sylphie, because that's what the story is sometimes.
Yes.
And they become friends. Rudy ends up starting to teach Sylphie magic and sort of becomes an instructor in their own right, and teaching Sylphie. Not going to give away the very unexpected plot twist.
Yeah.
And there's 2 great scenes that I love. One of which is Sylphie realizes that Rudy can cast without incantations. And it's like, hey, can you teach me how to do that? It's like, okay, yeah. You just imagine the spell that you want to do, and you feel the magic flow through you and flow into your hand. Let me teach you with water ball, because that's how I did it, and it's work. And it's like, oh man, this is such a weird thing to try to explain, though. How do I tell it? I don't know if Sylphie will be able to. I did it. Oh,
yeah.
Oh, I guess that was easy. Okay, sure. All right. I guess Sylphie can do it too. Perfect. So now Sylphie can do no incantation casting. Okay, that's just a thing now. Sure. And then there is the scene where they get, I think right after that, they get caught in the rain and they go home to Rudy's home, like drenched. And so they're going to like bathe and like get dried off. And Rudy discovers through awkward story that I don't really want to explain in detail, but it's kind of funny, and also they're children, but also one of them's 41 years old. Guess what? The incredibly handsome boy Sylphie that Rudy himself is already it's a girl. Sylphie's a girl. And this leads to my other favorite scene back in Paul's perspective. So we had the previous scene where Paul's like, I cannot argue with him because he will run circles around me. And now like Rudy is so emotionally distraught from this that it's like, oh my god, he's turned back into a child. I can do this. I can be helpful. I can teach him how to talk to the ladies, because that is the thing that Paul is, a man who talks to the ladies and is the successful.
Yes, he is the ladies' man.
Yes, but it's just this great scene of him just like, oh my god, Rudy's an actual child again. I can do this.
Yeah.
But they still end up staying friends, and Rudy's like apologizes for a bunch of stuff, and they become friends, and they become extremely close.
Yep.
Do you want to talk about the twins now, or do you want to talk about that later?
Sure. So
around this time in the story,
roughly this time frame, you find out that Zenith is pregnant again with a baby. Mm-hmm. Very happy. Rudy's happy. He's going back and forth. He wants he wants a sister, because his brother in his old life is the one who smashed his computer before they kicked him out, so he doesn't want a younger brother.
And also beat him up.
Yeah. So he doesn't want a younger brother. He wants a younger sister. So they notice that Zenith is going to have a baby. She goes and gets it officially from the doctor. It's like, yep, you're having a baby. A month later, turns out that Lilia is also pregnant. So Zenith calls a family meeting. And this scene is like, okay, now you know kind of who some of these people are in a more different kind of light. So you learn that Paul was, he fooled around with everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the story, in like a separate chapter, there is Zenith's perspective of right now, which kind of hints that she thought this was going to happen eventually, but it was still a surprise.
And there were other hints elsewhere of like Paul seeing him around Lilia, where it was like, this is going to become a thing that will happen at some point, I'm sure. Yeah. Like, if you were paying close attention, it's like, but at the same time, there wasn't anything happen. But then, no. Oh, yeah, she's pregnant too. And it's like, okay. And amidst, like, everyone dunking on Paul.
Yeah. So.
Which only continues.
Yes. So they're at this family meeting, and Zenith announces that she's pregnant. Yeah. And Rudy looks at Paul and kind of I'm going to help you out. I'm going to try to, because you've helped me with Sophie recently, I'm going to support you in this. And Zenith looks at him like, I'm going to kill you. And they both look at him together. And he just kind of shrinks down and is like, yeah, it's probably mine. And Rudy's like, dude, what are you doing?
Why did you say that out loud? Why would you say that? I was going to cover for you.
Yeah. So, Zenith obviously is going to have a big blow up. She's like, okay, she is a follower of the Milas Church, which is the main religion of the world. Think of it like somewhat like Christianity. She believes, okay, you have one husband, one wife, that's it. Yeah. So she is very upset. She's like, what do I do? And Lilia is like, okay, once Zenith has her baby and I have mine, because they're like a month apart, I will go back to my home country. And Rudeus is like, this is not good. Well, he's thinking this to himself. He's like, this is not going to be a good idea. Yeah. So he's trying to think of a way to convince them to not do this. And he comes up with the idea of blaming it all on Paul. It's all Paul's fault. So the whole, there's like, first he tries to treat it like a little kid would. It's like, oh, I'm going to have two sisters. And it's like, well, why is Lilia in trouble when it's all Paul? And he comes up with this fake story about how Paul went into Lilia and seduced her and things like that.
Yeah. And Lilia is like, there's a great thing, which doesn't mean something in the moment, but the opposite happened, but Lilia is like, raises eyebrows suspiciously.
Yeah, and Zenith's like, I know you can't say it out loud, but yeah. So eventually they all just gang up on Paul, and Paul turns into the bad guy, and in the end, Zenith says that Lilia can stay, and Lilia is grateful forever for what Rudy did to get him, to get her to stay living here.
And it leads to another good, in what we're talking about in terms of chronology, it's a bit out of order, but Lilia is like, in a later scene, Lilia admits that she was the one who tried to seduce Paul and succeeded. But because Rudy got her permission to stay and be part of this family, she is like forever indebted to him, even though he's kind of a weird kid with weird glances. And then it jumps right back to Rudy. It's like, Lily is being so weird now. I don't understand. She's always being so nice to me, and I'm getting scared.
Yeah.
And Lily's like, as much as I don't like him, I need to be so deferent to him because he's truly made my life better. I'll be a good person from now on. Why is Lilia so weird? I don't get it.
Yeah. So eventually, 9 months later, or a few months later, Zenith has...
About 9.
Yeah, around 9. Zenith has her baby. Her name is Norn. Yep. Yes, with an N. Norn. So, Norn is born, younger sister, but the problem is that right as Zenith has her baby, Lilia also goes into labor early. Turns out that everything's okay, and she has her baby, which is another sister. Her name is Aisha. Yes, so you have Norn and Aisha. You got the 2 new babies. Rudy has experience with babies because he had a younger brother, so he is a great help. Turns out that these are just regular babies, so they run their parents ragged.
Yeah.
And Lily's like,
all of a sudden
some
that makes
normal
so
babies.
much more. Lily's like, see, I wasn't crazy when I told you that this is not what raising a child should be like. This is what raising a child should be like. Oh, thank goodness.
Yeah.
This is so much more normal.
Yeah.
And so I want to bring this because I don't think this will be a good point to bring it up again later, but
Yep.
this series does have a lot of raunchy, goofy, kind of gross humor, but there are also just like very nice moments where like there's a scene where Rudy is with his mom, and like the rest of the scene there's some awkwardness to it, but there's some like character development to it too. But one part of it is just Rudy is standing next to the cribs, and the moment either one of the sisters like starts to get upset, he goes in and goes makes silly faces and like dances around them to make them laugh, and then they calm down. It's like, okay, let me go look at the other one. The other one's like blah 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 blah, blah. And he's just running back and forth between them.
Yeah.
Not because he has to, but because he wants to.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And when the faces don't work, he's like picking them up, checking their diapers, like doing everything he can to help.
Yes.
It's very clear that he really is happy to be a big brother.
Yes. Yep.
And it's a very nice scene.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That leads to the final section.
Yep.
The end of the Sylphie arc.
Yes.
Not the end of Sylphie.
Him and Sylvie have been friends-ish for
about
a couple years. Yeah, more than a year at least.
A year.
Yeah.
At least a year, probably longer.
Yeah. The problem is that Sylvie has no other people she can talk to besides Rudy. So she's become incredibly dependent on him. He teaches her reading, writing, magic, all kinds of things about the world. So she follows him everywhere. So she's completely dependent on him. And at this point in Rudy's life, he's like, there's nothing I can do because he's not progressing in swords. His magic is kind of stalled out. It has plateaued and he's not getting any better because, one, there's no one here to teach him magic because Roxy's gone. No one else in the village knows magic. The book doesn't tell him anything else. He's learned the book already. So he's kind of like... And then he gets a letter from Roxy saying, like, what she's been up to. And she says, oh, I bet you're, like, an emperor tier now kind of magician. And it kind of spurs him along. It's like, I can't do this. I have to get better because she thinks I should be better. But I can't do that here. So he goes to Paul. No, so before that, he's talking to Sylvie about this. Like, I can't... He gets depressed because like, I'm not getting any better at anything right now. And he's like, I think I gotta go to school. Because Paul has talked about this before. You could go to school, you'll learn arithmetic, reading, and writing. But you already know all that, so what's the point? So Sylvie gets very upset that Rudy's gonna leave her and go away. And he's like, I can't do this to her. Maybe she can come with me. And so he brings it up to Paul. It's a really funny scene. It's like, they're all sitting around the table. So Zenith and Lilia and Paul are all sitting at the table eating dinner with Rudy. And this is one of those times when Lilia is now more part of the family, because before she would, as a maid, she would stand to the side and help people as they ate dinner, but now she's actually sitting and eating with everyone, so she's part of the family now. And Rudy's like, Father? Because he always calls him Father. Father, can I make a selfish request? And Paul's like, no.
And they bonk him on the head.
And they bonk him on the head. It's
like, it was a joke. Stop hitting me.
So, if he's asking me for a selfish request, it's obviously something that he can't do himself, which means most likely we can't do either. So I'm going to say no.
And the fact that he's asking it, claiming it's going to be selfish, means it's going to be insane.
Yeah. So they bonk him on the head again.
But then you find out.
Then you find out what it actually is. So what Rudy wants to do is that he wants to go to the same magic school that Roxy went to.
Yep.
But he also wants to take Sylphie with them.
Yep.
So he wants to go with Sylphie to this magic school. So at the time, I think he is 7 years old.
Yes.
And Paul is like, no, for 3 reasons. The first is you're too young.
Yep.
You have to wait till you're at least 12. So Paul's history is that he was, as he says himself, a brat. So he didn't agree with his father. He left home at 12 with a big fight, kind of did his own thing, went off to be an adventurer. He also met Lily at the time. So he says, you can't leave until you're 12, because that's when I left. And Rudy's like, all right, fine. Second is, I forget what the second one was.
So of the other two, one of them is we can't afford it. So you need to work to make some amount of that money up.
Yeah. We can afford to pay you, but we can't do both of you. And the third one was... I forget.
The third one was very reasonable, but obviously not nearly as memorable as the other two.
Yeah. Oh, was it the sword? Because he's supposed to be learning the sword at the same time.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're in the middle of training on the sword. If you just stop training sword now, you're going to end up basically like I did and half-baked in a bunch of stuff. So finish learning more about the sword. Second, money. Third, you're too young.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. Not about Sylphie at all. Yeah. So.
No, as you had said, we can pay for you to go to the school, but we can't pay for Sylphie. And then Rudy follows that up with, okay, I understand. Since I'm not really training in magic anymore, can you help me find something to do as a job so I can earn the money to help pay for Sylphie?
Yep.
And I'll continue training in the sword, and hey, they talk about how long you should stay, and they decide on 12.
Yep.
And the end of that is when he asks about the job is, why do you need a job for this? Like, well, we can pay for you to go to school. It's like, yes, but I want to pay for Sylphie to be able to go. It's like, I don't think it's good for her for you to do that. And Rudy's like, I think it's a good thing for me to do, to pay for her to go to school.
Yeah.
And this leads us to the final section.
Yeah.
Where basically where it ends up going is in a little bit is Paul's like, okay, hey Rudy, we need to do something. What would you say if I said you're not allowed to see Sylphie for a long time? And Rudy's like, I would say, no, I disagree. And Paul's like, yeah, I figured that. Okay. And then basically tries to murder him.
Yeah.
Just like goes full on and assaults him. And Rudy is able to hold him back a little bit by turning the ground into mud, causing magical explosions that do a little bit to hurt Paul, but also hurt him, but mostly just blow him out of the way of Paul chasing after him.
Yeah.
But ultimately, Paul catches up to him and just takes him out and knocks him unconscious.
Yeah, because they've been practice fighting before.
For a long time.
But this is when Paul gets serious.
This is when Paul goes full, like, oh, bloodlust death mode.
Yeah.
He does not kill Rudeus.
Nope.
No, he does not just immediately murder his
Just
child.
knocks him out.
Yes. And Rudy wakes up in a box, in a cart, and you meet...
Ghislaine.
Yeah. And we get the Ruru nickname.
So...
What? Don't call me Miss Ghislaine. Call me Ghislaine. It's like, oh, okay. Fine, I'll call you Ghislaine. It's like, what should I call you? Oh, you can call me Ruru if you want. Like, okay, understood. I'll call you Ruru. It's like, I think I made a mistake. Sarcasm does not seem like your strong suit.
Yeah.
I don't understand what you're saying, Ruru. God damn it.
So this is probably, in my opinion, one of the funniest scenes in the whole book. So Rudy finds himself in a carriage, tied up. Ghislaine's there, kind of just sitting there watching him.
And we should describe Ghislaine as this 6 foot tall, super muscle bound, berserker style female swordsman.
Yeah.
With an eye patch.
With an eye patch, and also cat ears and a tail.
Yep.
Think of
wearing bikini armor.
Yeah. Think of the
of course.
old style D&D, huge, muscly Amazonian women, but also with cat ears, a tail, and covered in scars.
And an eye patch.
Yeah. So he wakes up.
It's got to be the most anime as well.
Exactly. So he wakes up. It's like, he knows he got knocked out. Wakes up. It's like, what's happening? And there's Ghislaine, and they have the conversation about the names.
Yeah.
And Ghislaine gives him a letter. And he's like, why don't you read it out loud? I can't read. So he then proceeds to read the letter from Paul. The first thing is, so he starts reading. It's like, Dear Rudy, if you are receiving this, I have passed on. And Ghislaine goes, what? It's like, Ghislaine, calm down. Let me keep reading. It's like, I always wanted to say that. So then it goes along. It turns out, to keep it short, is Paul found him a job. He's going to be a home tutor for someone in the city. That someone is who Ghislaine is the bodyguard from. She is a king-level sword god style practitioner who is going to train him in swordsmanship while he is also tutoring Ghislaine in reading, writing, mathematics, as well as this new... Did they actually say the name? I know the name, but I don't know if they...
Well, he's not tutoring Ghislaine.
No, he's tutoring Ghislaine.
Oh, does he tutor Ghislaine?
Yeah,
too?
he tutors Ghislaine in mathematics and reading and writing, but not magic. So he tutors both.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's in the letter or not, but...
Okay.
Because there's the joke where he's like... Where they talk about, like, oh, you're going to teach the spoiled little noble girl about this. And Rudy looks up at Ghislaine, and it's like, you don't really look spoiled, Ghislaine. He's like, I'm not the young lady in question. Right, okay. Understood. Yeah. Continuing to read the letter out loud. Yep.
Because then...
But no, they don't say... I don't believe they say her name.
Oh, okay. So he talks about... Paul just rags on Ghislaine a lot. It's like, at one point, inside of her head, she grew another bicep. And she gets so mad at him. So then...
And then there's also, like, she's really good at fighting. I've never been able to get an upper hand on her, except in bed. And it's like, God damn it, Dad, why did you say that out loud? And Ghislaine's there, like, nodding along, like, yep, sounds about right.
Yeah.
God damn it, you as well. It's so funny.
So, by the end, it turns out that Rudy has to be there for 5 years. Can't write back to home. However, once he's completed the 5 years successfully, he will be given a salary for doing all this anyways, but he will be given enough money for both him and Sylphie to go to the magic school going forward. Yeah. So it will be paid for once the 5 years are up.
Entirely.
Yeah. So he will be 12 by the time this is all over.
Yep. So everything will be matched, and Ghislaine will also teach him
sword fighting,
swordsmanship, and all that.
Yep.
Yeah. And to summarize it, because we've kind of skipped over the points where Paul explained it to himself and Paul explains in a letter, Paul is worried, and even Rudy at one point kind of thinks this as well, of Sylphie is becoming so dependent on Rudy that when they get older, Rudy will basically have complete control over her existence.
Yeah.
Almost.
Yep.
And it will either be something where, unless they both are perfectly wonderful people to each other, Sylphie is going to have her life destroyed either by Rudy manipulating her to be whatever he wants, or by Rudy basically shattering her ego when he turns on her and gets rid of her. And so it's like, can't let that happen. There's nothing wrong with in the future of you two having a relationship together, because again, 6-year-old is like, oh my goodness, this is the most beautiful person I've ever seen. In the future, having that relationship, sure, that's fine, but it can't be she is entirely dependent on your existence.
Right.
That is not okay. That is too risky. And so we are separating you so that you actually put in the work to get back to see her again, and she has the time to make use of what she's learned to be able to stand on her own to some degree without you.
Yeah, because Paul has seen this happen in the past and doesn't want that for Sylphie. And then at the end of the letter, P.S., feel free to do whatever you want to the person he's tutoring, but Ghislaine is mine. And Ghislaine's like, why don't you send this off to Zenith? He's like, I will. And that's pretty much where the book ends. So him...
Yep, that's where the story ends.
Yeah, Rudy is traveling off to tutor... I know the name, but I'm trying not to say it. So tutor... Think of it as another aristocrat who apparently has had a lot of difficulties with other tutors. But he's also going to learn how to use money in the city and things like that. But he has now had to leave his sister, his other sister, Zenith, Lilia, Paul, and especially Sylphie, who was very upset when Rudy was taken away.
Yeah. You don't see too much of it, but you do see a little bit of it.
Yep.
And her family is sort of like, I don't know how much specifically in this book, they don't really specify it. but it seems that her family also is like, okay, like, I get what's going on. I'm not going to say it's right or wrong, but like, okay, we'll take care of Sylphie.
Yep.
And like making sure that she at least starts to understand what's going on. And then there's just a bunch of very silly things.
Yes.
The rest of this book, some of which we've skipped over and that already happened, and some of which will come up, and other things like that. But yeah, that's the story.
Yep. So I've talked about the series before. I like it. So what do you think?
I think it's quite good.
Mm-hmm.
I see where a lot of people are coming from, where it's like Rudy, the person behind Rudy, is kind of really creepy.
Yes. Yep.
And it is. And it's explicitly, he's very creepy.
Yep. Yes, he is.
I think, though, once you get past the obviously extreme parts of it, where it's either trying to be funny or it's trying to just show how far gone into the never goes out, completely self-absorbed that he was in his old life, which he does specifically decide to not become like again, and like try to grow as a person beyond that.
Mm-hmm.
Once you get past the things that they're clearly doing to show that, the goofy, weird, the sexual stuff, the fan servicey stuff, like all that, that's nothing compared to so many other series out there.
Mm-hmm.
That other than the first opening moments where it's clearly in the extreme to show how far he had been gone.
Yeah.
That to me is sort of like a nothing burger that people still talk about because of those early moments.
Yeah, I think...
At least in this first book.
I agree. I think the problem is that because at this stage in the story he is so young compared to everyone, this is kind of creepy with the 36-year-old living in a 5-year-old's body and thinking things like, okay, it's kind of weird.
Thinking things about other kids, but like not specifically doing anything.
No. Nothing actually happens.
The other thing is he never actually does anything.
No.
He's thinking about these things and thinking about them in the future.
Yes.
Like when they both grow up, like we'll do that. And he regularly is like, we have to grow up first. We have to grow up first. You're very adorable, Sophie, but we both need to grow up a little bit more because this is really weird.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the other thing is, and I think the thing that makes this story really good, there's two things that I see in this that is like, this is actually really neat. One is all the characters are flawed and all of the characters are growing and changing over the course of the story.
Yes.
Some of it you don't see entirely in it, like you don't see Zenith's past and how she was and where she changes in this until the extra story at the end.
Yes.
And half of Paul's are him being made fun of, and the next quarter is Paul being a doofus, and the last quarter is him actually like growing and trying to do the right thing.
Yeah.
And Paul is learning from Rudy how to be a better dad.
Yeah.
From his own son, who's older than him.
Mm-hmm.
But they grow and shift and change, and it's very natural and very interesting, and it doesn't shy away from people doing stupid stuff.
Right. Yep.
And I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Having a story where everyone is like that, and where there are characters who are there to mostly be made fun of, Paul, even still, they have their serious moments, right. And they are part of this, and they get to be a real person.
Yes.
And I think the other thing that's really nice about this is it's a very good first book of a series specifically.
Mm-hmm.
The whole thing, other than the very last part with how he gets separated from Sophie, it almost feels like a self-contained story for a long portion of it. Oh, I get reborn. Oh no, I'm a terrible person. I get reborn in another world. Oh, I learned how to do it. I decided to be a good person. I get trained. Now I'm going to train someone else. Yay, that's a great story. Okay, yeah, but now we're going to cut you off and we're going to send you to another whole place.
Mm-hmm.
And you're just going to go and do that. There's a very clear setup for a longer story.
Yes.
That's not so... Because most light novels I read, it would have ended just before that. And the thing with Paul and getting sent off there, that would have been the start of the next book. But here it's the end of this book. And it's a good way to end something where there isn't an obvious central conflict.
Right. Yeah, because there's no big conflict in this book. It's more of Rudy trying to understand the world he's living in and what's his place in it going forward. And by the end of the book, he's trying to, like, I found something here, but I'm not growing anymore, so I need something else.
Yeah. And Paul's concerned about what's going to happen to Sylphie and what Rudy will actually become versus what Rudy thinks is going to happen to Sylphie and what he intends to do. It is a conflict, and it gets settled, and Rudy loses and gets sent on this whole next adventure because of that. But it gives them all an interesting set of characterizations, because it's like, you don't want Rudy to get and Sylphie to get split up, because, like, it is a little creepy. I mean, maybe it's more than a little creepy, but it's also kind of cute.
Yes.
And it's also kind of nice to, like, see them working together and learning together and all of that. And it's like, oh, this is like, you want to believe that Rudy is going to be better. And Paul's like, I can't trust that. I'm going to do this because I can't let my son become something terrible that I've seen other people do. And even Zenith and Lilia agree with him on this ultimately.
Yes.
And send him off. And that's an actual ending to this part of the story. Even without that central conflict, when you get to that end, you're like, oh, okay, now I see what the actual conflict was, and, like, here's the resolution to it. And I'm excited for what's going to happen next. I know what the next plot is. I'm looking forward to it, but nothing's been started. But it's not, oh, we got to an end of story, close the book, there's basically nothing, open the next book, oh, we've invented this new thing that's gonna happen.
Yeah.
It's very clearly led into by the end of this book. I think that, for a weird thing that's created a lot of the tropes, is one of the most tropey things, has a lot of very creepy, goofy, garbage Japanese humor that I do think is hilarious. But it's also just a well-written story in terms of the design of the narrative. I think it's better written than a lot of other light novels. And that's something that's like, okay, sure. The characters are really interesting. They're complicated. They're very, very awkward to talk about and feel like a normal human being talking about them half the time.
Yeah.
But having just read this book, that's something where it's like, okay, this feels special because it's not just... It may be the thing that a ton of other stories were based on, but it's not just like anything else. And it's the surface things that people copied and just sort of went their own way with, whereas this has, like, an actual good core behind it, at least in this first book.
Yeah.
It wasn't just popular because it was popular. It was popular because there was something good here.
Right. This was back when the genre was still fairly new, so to become seen, you had to be really good to begin with.
And because this wasn't the genre they would take anything from.
No. This is a very good first book. It sets up a lot that really comes into play later. When I reread it again recently for this podcast, it was, oh, I forgot that this was even mentioned in this book. Because there's so much that comes up later. So, okay, yeah, all right. This was either all hinted at before, or it was, we're going to use this because it's going to be a big thing down the road. So it's cool. Yeah. It's really good. I like it. I like the first book. I think it only gets better. I'm glad you liked it. Yeah.
I keep bringing this up, but to me, this was the biggest thing that I would always hear about the story was like, oh, the creepy, weird, innuendo and stuff. And that's, I don't want to say that it's not there because it is.
Yeah.
But to jump back to one that I've talked about earlier today, No Game, No Life is way worse than this.
Yeah.
And I've heard things about other stories that I really like where they get way worse in that too. And this, it's awkward and creepy, but it's like, this is what would have happened if a 36-year-old was reborn as a baby.
Yes.
And then the baby has character development. And it's like, okay, yeah, it's creepy. It's like, but that's what makes it a funny story for that first third.
Mm-hmm.
And then the middle third is like, oh, this is actually kind of compelling because you're watching this terrible person try to become better and decide to become better in a way that we kind of all want to.
Yeah.
But he's still a 36-year-old in a 25-year-old's body. And it's like, how do you...
Yeah.
So.
And as Rudy gets older, the creepiness kind of goes away. It's still a lot of the other humor is still there, but like it feels less creepy when he's 12 or 15 or 18 or yeah. So if you're worried about that after you read the first one, don't worry. Mm-hmm. There's still some of that in the next book because he is still on the young side. But as time goes on and the characters grow both mentally and age-wise, the creepiness that you may feel from reading some of the scenes in the first book goes away.
And I think the other thing that helps it, too, as a final thing on it, is Rudy makes fun of himself for doing that. Mm-hmm. Liliana and Zenith are like, call him out on it. Paul kind of calls him out on it in like a couple of ways, or at least notices like, this is weird and not normal and I don't like it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they're a child, so I guess I'm not going to say anything, but it's not just there because everything else in this book does it. They just blame it on Paul.
Yes, everything is blamed on Paul
because Paul is the ladies' man. So I was like, oh, he's just definitely inherited his father's genes.
Yeah.
It's just showing up real early. And we don't like it.
It's all Paul's fault.
But we'll accept it.
Yeah.
Because it's Paul's fault.
Yeah.
So, I think this is definitely a series where what you've heard about it is worse than what it is, except in maybe a couple of places. And even there, it's like they come to terms with that. They actually address that.
Right.
Even in this first book. And I think it's quite good. Mm-hmm. It's an interesting story, even if it's not the most original now, and it wasn't super original then. The characters are more interesting and dynamic than a lot of other stories.
Yep.
Campfire Cooking Another World with My Absurd Skill is fun. Those characters do not change under any circumstances. Rudy, Paul, Lilia, Zenith, Roxy, Sophie, pretty much everyone in the story is different from who they started, and not just like everyone is awesome now and everything is happy. Mm-mm. Even doing good things leads to people becoming worse in certain ways.
Yep.
And people have disagreements that they cannot resolve normally, and they become worse people for that, but are trying to become better people anyway. And it makes me want to see where the story goes because they're already having really interesting characters, not just interesting drama or interesting plots. So, I think it's great.
Yeah.
Anything you want to add? Anything you want to say?
Nope. I highly recommend it if you're worried about that creepy thing that we're talking about. It doesn't happen that often, and when it does, it's very much played off as a joke. He's not trying to be a creep. He's just thinking things that he doesn't actually act out on any of them. He just thinks things. But don't worry about it. It doesn't last long, but it's a really interesting story, and it's a really good introduction to this world that only gets bigger as the series goes on. There's more characters. There's more conflicts. There's more character growth. Like, some of these characters are very different a few books from now. Mm-hmm. Just by the situations that happen and the lives they now live. Because this is a story and a series where, yes, you're watching the story from Rudy's perspective, but this takes place, you're almost like you're watching him grow up as a person, both physically and emotionally, and as a whole, you're just watching his life and He has ups, he has downs, he has great moments, he has sad moments. And this is probably the one that does it almost the best, because he is never the best. He's not the strongest, he's not the fastest, he's not the most powerful, but he tries his hardest when he needs to. He doesn't always succeed, but he always keeps going. And this is a story of watching someone do the best they can for their family. And it only gets better.
Yeah.
It's a really cool story. I highly recommend it.
I agree.
Okay then.
Well, with that is going to be the end of this episode of the Mudai Manga and Book Club podcast. Thank you once again for listening. If you'd like to listen to us in other places you're not currently listening to us in, that would be wonderful, and we really appreciate it. You can find those places by following us on Blue Sky at Mudai Manga Book Club, where we'll announce whenever new episodes are uploaded or released in audio or video format. And you can find those audio episodes on Podbean or any other podcasting app that we've signed up for, which is the majority of them. I'm going to try to get to the rest of them soon, other than the ones that don't have an easy click button that just makes the thing go. But most of them should have it. And you can find the video episodes on YouTube at Mudai Manga and Book Club as well. Please like, share, subscribe, review, and all those other wonderful things to let us know that you are enjoying the episode. If you are enjoying it, if you're not enjoying it but you want to do those things anyway, we appreciate it, because that helps us know that people like the episode or are willing to lie to our faces about it, which I'm okay with. And it also helps other people find out that you think the show is good and maybe worth listening to or watching, and helping spread it around. If you have any questions, comments, rants, recommendations, or anything like that, you can leave us reviews or comments on any of those places, or you can email us directly at mudaimangabookclub@gmail.com. And with that, we've reached our recommending for the week. And I'm going first because I decided that's what I'm going to do, because I want to talk about music again.
Okay.
And I want to talk about not rap music, mostly.
Okay.
It's like 97% not rap. But I've been listening to a bunch of bands that I used to listen to. I have one that I do want to do a recommendation for again, but I want to go and sit and re-listen to their whole discography again for realsies. And also it's very political, so I don't feel like talking about that one yet.
Okay.
But one of my other favorite artists when I was growing up is a group called The Prodigy.
Ah, yes.
So this is techno electronica mixed with hard rock, and this is not your Moby electronica. This is not your Radiohead electronica. This is not your Daft Punk. This is heavy beats, guitars, and riffs, and crazy drums, and blasting sounds, and people shouting, and all that. Oh my goodness. It is so good. There are so many great tracks they have done. They were very, very popular in the 90s, into the early aughts. Unfortunately, I believe it was a little bit after that one of their lead performers ended up passing away. They've done a couple of projects since then, but they were active for a long time. They have a ton of great music. Absolutely fantastic. Today I was just re-listening to Always Outnumbered, Never Outgunned, which is probably not their best album, but if I was going to hand someone an album and say, hey, here's the easiest of their albums to listen to, which most of them hard rock, techno, electronica, is not necessarily the easiest listening to unless you're in the mood for I want the song of a fight scene to be playing in the background while I wash the dishes.
Yeah.
But this one is probably the most that, where it's covers a lot of their sounds that they'll do without being too harsh in any one direction. So that to me is maybe not their best, but one of the most fun. Spitfire is so good. But The Fat of the Land from 1997 is their most famous, most popular, and most specific album of theirs, but Experience B-sides, Music for the Jilted Generation, Invaders Must Die are all fantastic albums, and they remain to this day one of my favorite music artists. So if you ever do need the kind of music you would listen to while having your own anime fight scene, while washing dishes, vacuuming the floor, or sitting quietly, calmly reading a book, you could do much worse than The Prodigy, and you can't do much better.
Cool.
Really excellent music group. And I noticed that you said, oh yeah, I recognize that, because you recognize this band.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I do recognize this band. It's been a while, I think, since I listened to them, but yeah.
They were biggest in the mid-90s, early 2000s, and mostly the 90s.
Okay, yep.
But their last album came out in 2018.
Is that? That's not bad.
They've had like an album every like 5 or 6 years since 2009.
Mm-hmm.
They've never been anywhere as popular as they were back then, and their older music is kind of better. It's starting to get a little too perfected. The earlier music,
okay.
I guess you would describe it as just more raw, where it was more like hard rock, electronica, and techno than, whereas now it's more that electronic and slightly less heavy music, but it's still really good. Yep. And almost every album has like 5 or 6 tracks. You're like, oh yeah, this is really fun. I feel like punching a boulder and making it explode. Then I do that and I hurt my hand.
Then you punch it again.
Yeah. So I punch it with the other hand.
Yeah.
Then both hands hurt equally and everything's back to normal.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
How about you? What do you have to recommend for this week?
So I have since we've been talking about young kids exploring the world, there's a video game called Beacon Pines, which is about anthropomorphic kids who are living in a town called Beacon Pines. And in it, there's a mystery going on, and your job is to solve this mystery. I don't want to give it away because it's really important to go into this not knowing what's going on, but it is also told through a storybook. So the game opens as someone reading this book, and then you play certain scenes, but then as you go through the book, certain words will be highlighted, and depending on what you've done in the game, where you run around as one of the kids, you will get action words. So, for example, you'll get something about change, or tickle, or sad, or things like that, and then the word will be highlighted in the book, and you can say something, 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 and oh, well, I can change this word to something else. So instead of play, it's like, well, it's now change. So we went and changed, and then the story kind of rewrites itself slightly and goes from there. So you can think of it as a tree, and then as the tree goes up, there's all these story points that you get to, and everyone has a branch. And if you have the right words, you play another part of the story that branches off here. So there's still one huge connected story. There's one correct path that you can follow to get to the true ending or the best ending. But then there's all these other stories that you could follow. It's like, oh, let's see what happens if I go this way. And then it gives you a clue, and you can get new words by going down these other paths that are kind of a what if something happened. This is a bad ending, but you get a new word, but you may also get background of another character of why they're doing something the way they did. So then you can use that maybe to affect other parts of the story to kind of get more towards the best ending.
Nice.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's on Steam. It's called Beacon Pines. So Beacon Pines is the town they live in, and there's a kid fox, a kid deer, and they're all different animals, but they're all told through like a storybook kind of setting, and you kind of run around in the world, and you can mess with stuff, and it's a really cool story. It's really interesting, but you really should go in there not knowing what it is. Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't really want to spoil it.
Fair enough.
But it's a cool story. I have all but one of the achievements, and the last achievement's like I had to start it over. It's like I'm not going to do that. But just playing it normally and trying to get like the whole story, you'll get most of them anyways. So if you're really into achievements,
nice.
Yeah, it's a really cool story. I recommend this game, Beacon Pines.
Very cool. With that, that'll be the end of this episode. Tune in next week.
Yes.
Where we will be talking about Daemons of the Shadow Realm. Volumes 1 and 2.
What?
Because we couldn't figure out a good way to do the exact chapters, so we're just like, first 2 books.
First 2 books.
There. Stop not thinking about it any harder than that.
Yes.
So that is what we will be talking about next time. Until then, have a good night, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Peace.
So for our main topic this week, we're gonna...
Ah, yes. The Cthulhu episode.
Yeah. Welcome, one and all, to the Mudai Manga Book Club podcast. Today is episode 28, Out of the Mouths of Babes, with the Mind of an Old Man. Seems kind of weird. My name is Louie, and it... Let me try that again.
I was going to say, you're the one who made that title.
I know.
Don't say it's weird. You're not allowed to say it's weird.
No. I'm leaving the title the same. I'm trying to... I don't know if my name is...
Ah, okay.
I'm like, and is? Wait, that doesn't work with the rest of the word. And is not B.
And is B does do this R.
Yeah.
So this is the... Keyboard's all squeaky today.